Hi guys, how's it? It's Karabo. Hope you're good. So it's the next morning. Yeah, it's the next day. Perhaps see outside that the sun is piercing through. I had to eat dinner and sleep and everything. By the time I was done, it was 4 a.m. I lost content because my phone basically died, the battery. And what I was recording, I was literally at the end of that particular message, and then my battery died, and I had spoken for 40 whole minutes. Yeah, and I felt really crazy irritated and disappointed. But yeah, no, I guess that was God telling me take a break, because you're gonna be tempted to finish this series real quick before pretty much the ceiling of that particular day and not actually get the message across. So I was tempted to rush through it, really. Yeah, so I guess the Lord was like, and so we're here. So I am therefore going to repeat what I spoke in that section that I lost, and I hope to relay it as best as I possibly can with all the details that I gave, right? In the previous part, I had to recap that to see where I lost my bearings or lost my footing, given that I lost content. So if I repeat things, it is only because I could not recap the whole thing. I couldn't listen to all of it because it's just a waste of time. I'm like, I need to get this out of my mind, out of my head, out of my bones, and share the testimony to heal, to help people along. So I can't just be sitting around listening to a 40-minute video to figure out where I ended it. So if I am repetitive, if I'm saying stuff that I've already said, forgive me. It's only because I really am hoping to get the point out and as much info as I possibly can. So yeah, where I last ended off, y'all, was I was telling you that I was at a party, a 25th birthday party of a friend from primary and high school. We had reconnected on Facebook, and I got low-key evangelized by somebody who was theologically off, but nonetheless what she spoke really sat, hung out, swung like it was on a pendulum in my core. Unable was I to shake it off that I went back to work on Monday and just started Googling soul ties and all that jazz to basically find out if this chick was onto something. I wanted to get help. I wanted to get married. I really wanted to get married. I wanted to get married. I had, up until that stage, I guess, wanted to be married pretty much since I was my ex, the very guy that I was with, the whole relationship. I wanted to get married. And when things did not work out, when it became evident that things were not working out between him and I was like, well, okay, whatever. So I guess my future husband is not you. Yeah, I sometimes used to tell him that in the relationship type thing, because things were just falling apart. And I was like, if they're falling apart like this, Rejola, what's going to be of us when we are married? So marriage was my strongest desire out of pretty much everything that I wanted. Marriage was such a strong desire for me that it excelled even ambitions that I might have had in corporate career, basically old school mindset. I've had that even before Jesus. I was a trad wife before I became Christ's wife. I was a traditional wife before I knew Jesus. It was inbuilt in me, chiseled into my system, in my mama womb. I've never valued career or education. I loved studying, but that also kind of paled in comparison in its value, in its girth to influence my decisions in life. Education, friends, parties, all that jazz. Nothing came close to my desire to be a mom and a wife. Literally, a mother and a wife. It's all I ever wanted to be. Frankly, I had 20s ambitions, and feminism never ever, invested its fangs into me to a point of making me glamorize the prospect of just being the super androgynous, hyper strong female, cracking a whip in corporate or in the business arena at the expense of popping tons of kids. I wanted, literally, the number has always just been in my members since I could remember. 7 children. 7. And I did not care what society had to say. When I finally did come to Jesus later on, I had this colleague that fell pregnant very shortly afterwards with her husband after the last pregnancy. And she was being teased so bad for, just constantly falling pregnant. What's wrong with you? And so busy on maternity leave. And she was miserable because of that. And for me, I imagined it incredibly laughable that anybody at all would tease a woman for doing what a woman does. Fall pregnant. She was in a marriage. She was blessed, and for her to fall pregnant immediately after another baby, it was that's how I envisaged my season of childbearing, however long it lasts. I will literally back on back for years on end just fall pregnant. There will come a time in my life when there will not be a single year that progresses where I am not pregnant. That was my plan, because ever since I was as young as 22, 21. So by the time I got into the relationship with my boyfriend, that guy, right, I already had these ambitions. I didn't want a child out of wedlock, neither a child without having any, a very strong financial system, in the sense that I had my own car, my own house, and everything. I definitely wanted it to be within a marriage where both my husband and I had everything. But as soon as, the moment, I indeed wanted to, maybe take a year or two in the first 2 years of our marriage to just enjoy each other. But following which, I would just, keep popping babies. That's the thing about people in the world, you date and you fornicate like no man's business. And then you still want to take a break between you being married and you having children in a married state with your husband now, despite having already lived like a married couple before you got married. I can understand a Christian couple wanting to enjoy each other for the first 2 years of their marriage and then having kids. But when worldly couples make that decision, it's you've been fornicating, you've been cohabiting, you've been doing, you might as well just pop the babies now that you are in a marriage. Now that the man has made an honest woman out of you, why are you wasting time anyway, whatever. But I had that mindset. I was once I'm married, my husband and I will enjoy each other as a married couple for 2 years or 3, and then we'll have babies. Of course, at the time I had time to make that decision, because I did not yet have a geriatric womb, right? This guy that I was dating, he was the first guy that made me feel like this here is a man that I can basically be the baby mom of, right? Every other guy that I'd ever been with in the past was so just no, it didn't make sense. The one dude, like I said, was a closet homosexual. The other guy is kind of irresponsible, and I was now with a dude that actually showed me love, and I imagined that he could actually dote over children. I also saw his family structure, and it was very loving. His parents never got divorced, and I was like, this is it. This is the guy that I'm gonna have kids with. So I mean, you would imagine then, when 5 years progressed and we were not married, we were not even, it didn't appear like things were going anywhere near that. I was just getting very frustrated, and my biological clock was ticking. I wanted to be a young mom. If a man had made an honest woman out of me at the age of 22, I would have had my first child at 23, second, 24, third, 25, fourth, 26, 27, etc. Literally magic number, or miracle number, we don't do magic in Christianity, for me was 7. I decidedly wanted 7 biological children. Never mind adoption yet, right? I wanted 7 biological children that I would produce from my own belly from the age of 22. And I did not care to fall pregnant every single year of my mid to late 20s, or even early to late 20s. And the only thing that stood in the way of me getting into this particular mode was marriage. And yeah, well, my ex did not quite do that fast enough. So by the time then, I was 25, 26, and this dude was just kind of dilly-dallying, because I was dating him from the age of 22, right? I was like, you're messing with my plans. You're messing with my desire. I want to be a young mom. I want to be a yummy mummy. I want to be a hot mom. I want to be a cute, beautiful mother that's going to go and collect her children from school. And the kids in the school are going to be like, oh my goodness, your mom is so fly, to my kids. I wanted that. Perhaps vanity had a lot to do with it, but I wanted a young pregnancy. I really did. And like I said, I was prepared to be pregnant for 7 whole or 8 or 9 years non-stop. And I would not have cared what anybody said. Just pop in babies. Like I said, the number that I was gunning for was 7. I wanted 7 children. So turns out the Holy Spirit had always just been kind of hovering around a sister, because I later came to learn that 7 is the number of God's completion Yeah, I wanted 7 children. So you could imagine the sorrow in my soul right now, in my core, in my general demeanor, when I'm like 38 with no children. It's just like, what's happening? Okay, what's going on? Like, I was supposed to pop a lot of babies. I longed for twins. I did. But, you know, we don't got those genes at home. I'm not really sure if twins are more genetically predisposed in men or women. I don't know if it's the woman whose egg is more likely to split or the man's, you know, juice that causes twins. I'm not really sure whose genes it is, the twin one, but I personally don't have it. In my family, there are no such human beings. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. But Jesus is the one that, you know, can pull a miracle. I've had dreams of having twins like I have, like a boy and a girl. They were not identical. I did not care if they were identical or what are they called when they're not identical, siamese or what. I didn't care as long as they were twins. I wanted multiple babies, right? Yeah, in my stomach. Twins, triplets, quadruplets. If I could like get that done, I'd be like, I'd feel blessed. Like, what? Man, I've always had that, right? And here was this rando wasting my time. The thing about my ex as well is, that man he was made to be so confused about his desire for me by his friends, like witchcraft that was just coming from like a bat out of hell from that particular ecosystem, with friends trying to separate us, break us up. Not even women. I will continue to highlight this over and over again. My girls were jealous for a lot of other things in my life, but they did not come against my relationship with that guy. There is not a single woman that God has ever highlighted as having deliberately messed my relationship up with my boyfriend. It was always his friends. They're the ones that sliced it up and diced it up. Badlala nyoko nonsense game. And I was shocked because I expected that men are a lot more mature. You know, we believe as women that men have got a temperance that we frankly do not have. They're not clamorous in the way they think, and they don't have as much jealousy against each other the way that women do. We're the ones out here pulling one another's weaves and wigs off heads and plucking each other's brows off our faces just to basically handle your female friend. But men, we believe as women that they're a lot cooler, calmer, collected, and less cantankerous than us. However, men ransack each other's females. It's their basic. Like, they cannot stomach a good guy among them because apparently it is like the deed of righteousness to cheat like no man's business, or to keep changing up girls, or to not really award with any level of honor or respect a woman in your life. Apparently that makes them strong or whatever, when a guy is actually really great to his wife or girlfriend. It is considered a weakness in the male community, and I really don't understand what's going on there. My ex was encircled by such human individuals as these, and they frankly prospered to convince him that him just being such a doting boyfriend frankly is making him weaker, as if though he was not already weak enough. They made him feel like he's not man enough, when according to the scriptures, that is the manliest thing a man can ever do or ever be. To basically leave his mother and his father, cleave to his wife, and the two become one flesh, and to love her the way that Christ loved the church. To value her, adore her, and pedestal her above everybody else in his life. To him, it is God, wife, children, and then the rest of y'all, whoever you might be. When a man sees things that way, he has arrived according to God. He deserves a crown. He's a king. Yeah, but according to these randos in the world that are hanging out in an upside down mode, it is first, they ignore God because they don't honor him, so they discombobulate that order. And then it's the boys. And then it is the woman, and then the children. So whatever the boys say or do influences what he does with the female. So you will find these dudes falling in love with women all over the show, happy to just be the baddest boyfriend in the game, and then Kausani, he's just a douchebag. It's like, how did that even happen? I know, you've got a man cave. Anyway, whatever. So in this grunting little Neanderthal man cave, my ex was made to disregard the living daylights out of me. What made him super stellar and spectacular in comparison to his boys who were materially stronger than him was the fact that he was such a good guy. He was so loving. He was so adoring. And then he lost even that clout. Like, dude, you ain't got money. Dude, you ain't got your own house or your own car. Dude, you don't have material possessions that apparently allegedly make a man a man. But what you got going down is a chivalry and a violent ability to love a woman in a way that I don't know what in the world is going on in the black community, but black men just don't got down. Black men and their misogyny, black men and their calling women B words, black men and their hypersexualization of women, their lack of patience when it comes to sex, all that jazz. You got that right. I don't know what planet you're from, but you're cut from a different cloth. You got it right. And these guys took it from you. So the clamor in the male community, the hair pulling out and the plucking out of eyebrows and eyelashes, tantamount in the male community, is messing with the messing with wives, messing with females, messing with how men basically take women in their stride. My ex had a cousin who was the bane of, I can't really say he was the bane of my existence, but I really disliked him. I did. He was the, frankly, only family member in my ex's family that I could not stand. Everybody else I was good with, right? This guy, I didn't like him, not even in the slightest, precisely because of how he was to his girlfriend. So let me just put this out there. When I met him first, he gave me, quite a vibey attitude. And I was like, ugh, whatever. Like, sometimes black guys are like that. They pass females shade for whatever reason. So I was like, he's one of those. Anyway, I'm dating the cousin. It's fine. It's not like I'm dating you. And all the rest of the family seems to think I'm the best thing since sliced bread. So whatever, dude. This guy, I'm hearing things outside. When we started dating, when my ex and I started dating, he was single. Well, more or less. Like, he was sleeping around all over the show. He was a little player. Like, he was, all over. Nasna made. He didn't have rechte. That's what they used to call us. Basically, we're not the side piece, we're the main. And women were just happy to embrace that in their stride. Anyway, whatever. That's what he was when I first met my boyfriend. Didn't have any such female in his life. And maybe a year progressed with my boyfriend and I being together. And then this guy that every time we would go out partying, dancing, clubbing, and he was there. He was with the new lady chica in his armpit or whatever, Unadula, he was just busy. Alright? Out in these streets doing a random, strange, odd thing. And I knew this about him, and I never really liked him for those reasons too. I didn't like guys that did that with women. They never ever sat well with me. I could never ever embrace them as regular human beings. They were just monstrous to me. I did not like player guys. They were irritating and they were disgusting. In the sense that I felt like they were, men who sleep with prostitutes. I don't understand how they can dive into a woman that has been with so many men and not feel uncomfortable to do that. So when a man then not so much sleeps with prostitutes but sleeps with so many women, it might as well be sleeping with prostitutes, because it's just diving into so many different environments and just carelessly. It is so self-destructive and demeaning that I don't get it. I don't understand player antics. It's filthy. It's disgusting. It's bodily fluids, for crying out loud. I mean, tongue in so many people's bodies, man, but it's just I don't get it. It's unhygienic, but they do it. Yeah, anyway, so this guy was like that, and his unhygienic ways with all these many females, but whatever, he wasn't my boyfriend, he was my boyfriend's cousin, and I sort of kind of, suffered him whenever he was around. He was misogynistic in the worst way, so he spoke with me lowly, down. He spoke down to me. He knew I was smart, he knew I was studying, he knew I had a very strong job, a career. My boyfriend, I pretty much told him about his girl, and yet he spoke to me like I was a child. And, like something to be brutally rebuffed. So I really did not take to him. I didn't, however, tell my boyfriend that was what I felt about his cousin. And one day, however, my cousin was like, Yazzie, this cousin of his had a best friend. And I told you guys that one of my favorite things about my ex was the fact that he was a storyteller for days. So I would just bask under all of his many stories. And one of the stories he was telling me one day when we were hanging out was like, yo, babe, my cousin, hey, he's got a little bit of a situation. They say the cousin's name was Twatwa. He was like, hey, as my Twatwa, he's got a little bit of a situation all up in his grow. He's busy out in these streets fraternizing, flirting with his best friend's cousin. So, bestie from high school. The best friend, let's just describe him ever so briefly. Let's say the best friend's name was Karazizi, so another Karabo. The best friend was a Karabo. Yeah, Ukarabo was, I don't know how he became tight bosom buddies with this guy, because he was such a good guy. He was so sweet. He had imedi, that he was faithful to. He was making an honest living. Okay, so was his cousin. He wasn't a criminal or whatever, but all other aspects of him were messed up. He was just a nice dude, you know, when you go out, he would, you know, hey, how you, kind of good, yeah, cool guy. And I was like, how do such two different electrically separable men become best friends? I don't understand it. Like, how, when this guy talks about his, like, dalliances, and this dude is hanging out in his very straight and narrow life, how do they reconcile? How do they get to a point where they can actually have thriving conversations since they are best friends and everything? I mean, that's what makes for best friends. You hang out all the time, right? Couldn't get how Ukarabo was so tight with Utswatswa. Anyway, but that was the deal. And he then my boyfriend was like, hey, Batong, Utswatswa is busy cheka, like going to basically pursue cousin Yega Tswatswa. Yaga, right? He kept on checking, like under reps, like basically escaping and stealing himself from Tswatswa. Not Tswatswa, from Karabo. Like he would be like, hey, Karabo, boy, I'll see you. Today I'm not going to be able to see you. I've got other commitments. I've got other things to do. So, boy, I'll see you tomorrow. And then under reps, Utswatswa would go ayocheka, like to go and basically shella, like Karabo's cousin. And Karabo found out, you know, this is my ex telling me, Karabo found out that Utswatswa is busy trying to holla at his cousin. And manje, cousin, yeah, got Tswatswa. And now Tswatswa's cousin is such a sweet girl. She's like a virgin and everything. She's all like sweet. Like this girl is innocent. She's a gentle soul. And this Tswatswa is ridiculous with women. He's a player. And Karabo found out that his boy is pursuing his cousin Hard Knock. How he met the cousin. He was invited, of course, to one of Tswatswa. He was invited to one of Karabo's family functions and met the cousin of Tswatswa there. And was like, oh, she pretty, she cute. She pretty, she cute. And then Tswatswa, not Tswatswa, sorry, but Karabo was like, dude, nah, please, I know you. I know you and all of your women and whatnot. You're not doing this to my cousin. She's a good girl. She's one of those, like, stay home. She doesn't party much. She don't even drink. Like, please, like, don't mess. Don't be tripping with my cousin. Like, there are so many other women out here in these streets. Go there. Ontoli busy already, so please. The sad and uncomfortable thing, Tswatswa, is that kind of dude. And the kind of dude that I'm busy currently actually really talking about, that is the bane of the existence of the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ ladies. These really absolutely unacceptable men, are beside themselves with adoration. They cannot stop. Okay? With women that are pure, just basic gold, like virgins, hebatung, gangster, disgusting player type men. How they love virgins, how they love sweetie pies, how they love innocence. It's like they want to rock up and damage that which is beautiful, because they're so used to destroying. When they see something beautiful, they imagine they need to be the bomb in the ecosystem to lay flat that particular city. Bad men love sweet girls. They love to marry the baddest females in the game. That's why gangsters are obsessed with church girls. Yeah, okay, so we've put that out there. Alrighty. And Tswatswa, for him it became a fetish. It became a hunting pursuit. It became something that was his life mission now. When he happened upon this woman, found all of her glory in her sweetness and her purity and her innocence, and with all of his filth, he could not let her go precisely because she was so sweet. She was not just a pretty girl like all the other women that he was all up in this girl, but she was also, like, she wasn't godly, she wasn't yet saved in Christ, okay? But she was pure. She was innocent. She was a virgin. A virgin. She'd never had sex. She was like in her 20s. She could have been like 23, 24, more or less my age at that stage. And Tswatswa was like, precisely because I get to break the virginity. Precisely because I get to bank her. I'm going to, under reps, pursue this woman unto oblivion. He made it his life mission to get her. His boy told him, please don't. God was like, leave her alone. And he was like, sure, boy, whatever. Fine, I'll respect what you gotta say. But he kept on, you know, driving around like a little gangster, criminal, or stalker outside your house. And, you know, basically putting himself in the pathway of this chick. And he got to this chick, you know, opened her heart to him. And he kept on checkering her. He kept on pursuing her. He kept on calling her. He kept on basically, you know, maneuvering softening her up, massaging his way, grabby paws into this ecosystem. And it became like a secret between them. They were busy out in these streets talking and chatting. That's what's good, right? And Karabo found out. Somehow he, caught wind of what was going on. And they then had a little bit of an altercation as friends. And Karabo was like, dude, I told you, my cousin is off limits. You know Kutunjani, you know how you are. Just have respect for Indaba Yoguti. She's innocent. She doesn't deserve what the heck you are. She really does not deserve that. She doesn't. And that falling out is then when my boyfriend came to tell me the story on Samir Tswatswa is fighting with his boy, and this is what's going on. And all I could think about in my head was, really and truly, the ball is in the court of the female at this point, because that guy's not going to stop. This woman has to be the one to have enough sense, ration, and reason in her noodles to refuse to date this dude, because at this point this guy's gonna want to pounce in. I just knew that there is nothing that the cousin can do, because his cousin, female cousin, is going to date this guy if she wants him. So she has to be wise enough to not allow the local player, for crying out loud, known for such a reputation as that, to take her. She has to be the one, because this boy is not going to listen to his friend. He just ain't. He's not going to respect his friendship with his boy. His best friend from high school, he's not going to do it. However, a couple of months extra progressed, and my boyfriend then rocked up and he was like, Tswatswa, and let's say her name was Riri. He was like, Tswatswa and Riri are dating. Tswatswa and Riri are dating, and who is this? The cousin finally capitulated. The cousin accepted that Uriri wanted Utswatswa. At which point I was like, I don't know, maybe she'll change him. Maybe he'll love her so bad that he will stop cheating, whatever. When has that ever happened? Maybe utlaba different. He was really very misogynistic against women. He spoke low of them. To me, he spoke to me low, and that never changed. So when he started like dating Riri, I remember thinking, I wonder how he talks to her. Like, is he this like underestimating and undermining and demeaning and low playing of her? Because he certainly does it with me. And he also keeps on counseling my boyfriend. There was a time when we were at a wedding at my boyfriend's family's like function thing, some offside place Koval, and we were at a table chatting, me and my ex at the sitting at Kotafuleng, and his cousin was there with us, really three Kotafuleng in, and I was talking with my boyfriend with an excited tone, like I was raising something, and his boy, his cousin, Kiliteng, right there, looked at my cousin on some ish, like, don't take her seriously, boy. Like, literally, I was right there. He was like this, like, he spoke of me like I was nothing. Literally, he made me and my ex fight, because my ex did not stand up for me. Like, things that my ex and I used to fight about were among these. The fact that when his boys would disrespect me, he just never put them in their place and was like, no, don't talk like that to my girlfriend. Don't talk like that about my girlfriend, especially not when she's here. Like, she's like right here, dude. My boyfriend just like, his face looked down on some ish, and I got so mad, so angry. Unfortunately, we were all the way Goval, and there was no way that I could just leave and storm off. So I had to stick around, upset the rest of that evening, just like unable to even have normal conversations because I was boiling with everybody. I was so angry, and my boyfriend knew it. And it was clear that we were going to fight when we got into our own personal space together. And he allowed himself to basically go to war with his girlfriend because his cousin was that rude. I just so disliked this cousin. It was not even funny. He was so rude. And this cousin, because of how strong I was in my career, in my life and everything, that was the reason why he down-talked me, like, in my face. And of course, if you down-talk a woman like that in her face, when then he's chatting with his boy, his cousin, of course, then the way that he communicated to his cousin about me was also downplay. Like, this dude was just disrespectful flat out. Those are the things that I observed about this guy before he dated this chick. And here it is that we're at I find out that this chick finally capitulated to dating Tswatswa. And, well, predictably and very typically so. about a year into their relationship. So basically I was still with my ex. About a year into their relationship, she gave him her body and everything, right? So she waited a year. She made him wait a year, and he waited, because it's such an exciting thing for a perverted man to break a virginity of a woman to a point where he will wait for her. But understand that in that entire year in that whole entire year of dating this woman, waiting for the virginity to be broken, I had gone out with my boyfriend, partying and whatnot with Tswatswa where he had a side chick. And one of the days where he had a side chick, his boy was there. Yes, I couldn't, like, his best friend, the cousin. That is how much the society does not protect women. His cousin was there, and his cousin observed his boy cheating on his cousin. And they had a falling out or an altercation over it. They reunited as friends, and the cousin chose to protect water instead of blood. He accepted that his player cousin was now playing, his player best friend was now playing his own cousin. And he was just, a jiver, drinking like the rest of us, completely ignoring the fact that your boy is here with a side piece while his girlfriend, who is your cousin, the virgin, is at home. He just left it. He stopped probing at it. That's why, women, I'm trying to be here for you. I am trying to be here for you, because at this point, in the absence of y'all coming together to support and stand with each other, these men will never change. The Bible makes it clear that men are won over by a peaceable and a quiet spirit. They are won over by piety of women, by the godliness of women. They walk away from darkness when women are holy. Yours is to concert in goodness that they might not be able to touch you. And because they need you, like they need water in their bodies, they will, just to acquire you, godly themselves up. They will rise up to the occasion, precisely because absent of women, they frankly cannot survive. They treat us like they can do without us. So when then they don't have us, that's when they will do whatever it takes to get us back. But because there is this war, this clamor, this cantankerous, just random, like, cockpit fighting issue in the female community, men are always able to just ransack us, divide and conquer. It's that basic. And they will also rather choose to stand with each other than actually protect women. Even initially, if they might start out protecting women, they eventually give up. They stop trying to protect women because they choose friendship and man cavehood, brotherhood over sisters. Literally, that whole saying of theirs, bros before whores. The fact that they even call us whores is problematic, but that whole bros before hoes mindset is proper the way that they function. So since they function that way, the best way out of it is to deny themselves you, especially considering they somehow successfully prosper to call a virgin a hoe, in blanketly, like tagging them like they're animals with like clippers on their ears, with the same label, purely because they've got female parts, purely because they've got a number of chromosomes. So it's just simply because they're women. They just get easily called the B word, the W or the H word, whatever you want to use, the urban version, the slang, or the real English word. Yeah. So this thing of this division between bad girls and good girls, where bad girls basically cause good girls to finish last, and they pride themselves in being Jezebels, and because they tongue strip honey, they can just get any guy in the room. And priding yourself in stealing a boyfriend, priding yourself in being the one that the guy chooses instead of the other lady, and the envy that causes you to scratch at each other to a point of lacking support for one another. It makes out of women such victims. It wastes so many women's lives. It takes away the futures of so many women, because other women will stand for them, and men will not stand for women for a decent enough amount of time for these ladies to be successfully protected. They eventually capitulate, just like Tswatswa's boy, Karabo, eventually just accepted that his boy, wanted his cousin. He got her. He cheated on her with Karabo being right there, and he was like, I tried. He gave up and threw his cousin to an animal. That ought to have been a deal breaker in their relationship, because this is blood, dude, and blood is thicker than water, but he chose his boy. Bros before hoes. Yeah, that's how they roll, okay? Yeah, and you're out here scratching the eyeballs out of a woman, as a woman, when you don't have protection, even from the men in your family, from your dads, from your uncles. That's what also happened to me. They left me to suffer like this, and now today I'm so abused by bad men, with no support from women, and no protection from blood men. Men that are supposed to love me, because they are my fathers. They are my uncles. They are my brothers. They are my male friends. my male colleagues, they would not protect me because girl, kunzima, just give in, let go. Yo. So janong na ke na le monna he o ntshwere o ntshireletseng modimo ke modimo o. Leina la gagwe ke Jesu. I got Christ. I'm complete in him. He will never ever say men before women. He's given them authority over us to lead. But the moment they drop the ball, the Lord has given us permission to ignore the living daylights out of them insofar as we're under him. That's what I'm trying to explain here. This Tswatswa guy, lo and behold, he finally broke the virginity of the chickie. They say Chiki's name was Riri. Like I said, he finally broke Riri's virginity. And after getting Riri's body, not only did he cheat on her in the run-up to breaking her virginity, but once he did that, he got so arrogant, his head blew up so big that, and I quote, this is what he said, my ex telling me one time, he was like, I was hanging out with Tswatswa, and he said, he said to me that he feels like Riri loves him too much. He was like, he feels like Riri loves him too much, and yamochesa. Like he feels as if though she needs to calm down because she loves him too much. My boyfriend told me that Tswatswa confided in him and told him that he feels like imtanda too much. That his girlfriend loves him too much. The virgin he pursued until he took her virginity. He is now telling his cousin that he feels like she loves him too much, and it's basically giving him claustrophobia. Yeah. When my boyfriend told me that, I was like, this was so inevitable. It was so predictable. I so disliked this cousin. Yes, I couldn't stand him. It was just inevitable. Yet this woman fell right into it. This man, who obviously would gain a great amount of affection from a woman whose virginity he took, he then went on right ahead and spoke in these streets to other men how it is that his girlfriend is just too much with the way that she loves him. Yeah, she got to become his rechte. Since he was, loose cannon all over the show, sleeping around with a whole bunch of women, finally he got a main chick. And the whole main chick phenomenon, I keep on saying to women, why are you content and happy to be a rechte or a main chick when you're supposed to be the only one? You should not be given a title as a main precisely because if there is a main, there must be a side. You should just be a wife and that's it. You should be the only one. You should never be called irrechte, because to suggest that you are irrechte means that there is somebody who is a wrongdoer. It means that there is someone that is not the main. So, HIV much, gonorrhea much, chlamydia much, clap much, HPV much, trichomoniasis much. Goodness gracious. Baby, mama, drama much because he impregnated somebody else. That is you. Miserable wife. Miserable girlfriend. But hey, you got to be irrechte. My ex was hanging out with people like this. Bad company corrupts good character. Here it is that Tswatswa's best friend Karabo got corrupted. And my ex was, of course, in and of himself, corruptible. The Bible says, you will reap what you sow. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, he will reap. So if you sow to the spirit, you will gain eternal life, but if you sow to the flesh, you will reap corruption. And my ex was sowing to the flesh by continuing to hang out with gangster flesh, and so he reaped corruption. Ultimately, he knew he had a good girl, and he was busy listening to bad men, and he would not protect me to stand for his good girl. And just like Tswatswa, he ended up having worthless conversations with worthless men, downplaying the name of a great wife, a great girlfriend, a future wife, a woman that was ride or die, until he lost her. And now he has reaped corruption. He has reaped a violent amount of corruption. I should have known at that stage that these things rub off. So if my ex can hang out around a person that speaks like that about a woman whose virginity he broke, then what in the world is my ex gonna end up talking in the climate of these wicked men? Yeah, no. So despite the fact that I wanted the picket fence, I wanted the children, I wanted to pop a whole bunch of babies, my ex was busy getting told by friends like those, cousins like those, men with like those that he kept on hanging out with that Karabo needs to be subdued, and dude, you need to be really sure if you want to marry there because she's too strong. Like you can't just be doting over Umfazi like this. You can't let yourself go. He was a man and these men made him a little boy that's busy hanging out and he passed up a woman that he could have married within the first year of dating and gone on right ahead to be a father of 7, maybe 8, maybe 10, and been a very happy man. But he dragged his feet through life, wasted the living daylights out of my time, and listened to some pretty satanic men who kept on talking to him about women like they ain't jack, to a point where he didn't even defend his girl each and every single time whenever she got insulted by these boys in front of him. And it caused me to blow my top. When I would then blow my top, I would then get looked at as one of the uqadi. She started uzorasa manje futhi. Don't listen to her, boy. Proper. A man made to ignore his distressed woman that he is in love with at the peril of his relationship. But, temporarily, he is going to basically heed these men so that he can look good in front of them. And then in private, when it's just the two of us, then only he apologizes. Then only he buys me a rose and a teddy bear. I told you guys the story. I hope I told you that I didn't lose that content. About the accident that we had, where he ended up buying me a rose after an altercation that we had. The thing that caused me to stop drinking. Yeah, you then buy me a teddy bear, you buy me some flowers, you buy me all of these things when it's just the two of us, but you could not stand up for me in front of your boy. Stuff like that chipped away at our relationship until it was completely over. Next part.